video on turning the blueberry juice that I got from, I froze some blueberries and then I used the blueberries in a cake, and to stop the cake being overly wet, what I did was I squished the blueberries. That's me squishing the blueberries, and then so the juice came out of it, and then it wouldn't make the cake as wet and sag. So I have blueberry juice, which I have. I'm going to turn into a cordial. Because in this country there's a sugar tax, and lots of the drinks have changed because they now put less sugar in them, which is good for people's health, really poor for the drinks that I like to drink, because you can't buy them anymore. Well, you can, but they're just rubbish, and I particularly hate Jamie Oliver for it. I hate him, but I just kind of think he should keep his nose out of things. Right, so I'm going to make a cordial. It's pretty straightforward. The blueberry juice, it's nice. It's not particularly strong, so I'm going to not particularly strong in flavour. So it's nice to drink just like that. But if you couldn't actually add water to it and make a nice cordial, so we're going to reduce. We're going to reduce it, evaporate off some of the liquid from it, which is pretty straightforward. We just need to put it in a pan with some heat underneath it. And what that will do is it'll evaporate off some of the liquid in it, and we'll be left with a concentrated blueberry flavour. I've made a video on making a cordial before, but I haven't actually uploaded the video, so I'll have to do that sometime. I was checking, I thought I'd made a video, but I haven't. So it's just a simple case of boiling up the liquid, and then to get it more concentrated, and then we're going to add some sugar, a good ratio of sugar. So I will start waffling instead of just cracking on with the recipe. So when you're making a sugar syrup, it's normally equal quantities of liquid and sugar. I don't particularly want to do that. I want a slightly less sweet cordial, something that I can add, say something like a nice tonic water to, so it doesn't need to be as sweet. And also I don't like things too sweet, and also by adding sweetness we're going to lose flavour of the blueberries and all that type of thing. So I don't like to make things too sweet, but I'm going to use proper sugar. So a good ratio is for every 250 millilitres of liquid, this is going to reduce, there is 600 millilitres of liquid in here at the moment, so for every 250 millilitres of liquid, 100 grams of sugar is about the right taste for me. However, depending on sweetness is kind of depending on what you want. I'm just moving the board, I don't want it to burn. So also, and because we're not adding a huge amount of sugar to this liquid, it's not going to keep as long. Its shelf life isn't going to be particularly as long, so it'll keep in, it might start to ferment if you keep it in a cupboard in like 2 or 3 weeks. And so you kind of keep it in. I keep it in the fridge, and it'll keep for a good couple of months, and then it'll preserve it a little bit better. Now I've made videos on. I should have proper planned this before I started instead of just kind of reeling things off as I go. So I made a pomegranate liqueur, and I've also made a grenadine syrup. Because you're adding alcohol to things, I'm not adding alcohol to this. This is like a side note. Because you're adding alcohol to things, alcohol is preservative, so you don't need to necessarily boil things in the same kind of way. However, this is a cordial, and the only preservative in it is going to be the sugar. So we need to boil it all up, because we need to kill off any bacteria or yeasts that are naturally in that juice, because it came out of the freezer, and the freezing process does not kill bacteria. It kills some bacteria, or kill yeasts, which are what causes things to ferment. So we don't want that. So we've got to boil all the liquid, and we've got to when the liquids when I reduced it by maybe a third, so it's intensified the flavour. We'll add in, we'll weigh it, we'll measure it, see how much liquid's left, and then we'll add the corresponding amount of sugar to what we kind of want. But we need to boil it because we need to sterilise it, and the container that we pour it into after we've sterilised it by boiling also needs to be clean as well. So I'm going to put it in a bottle, but it just needs to be a clean bottle, so you've got rid of any kind of bacteria. You can this is easy process. You just need to pour some boiling water in the container, and leave it stand for 10 minutes, or you can do it in an oven, clean container in the oven at 100 degrees, and then what that will do is that will kill off any bacteria as well. So I have filtered this blueberry juice through a coffee filter. I haven't got one to hand. I'll get one. So it's just a standard coffee filter, and what that does, it just takes out the majority of the impurities. So just a normal coffee paper, just let the liquid go through it, and it'll pick up any kind of excessive amounts of sediment in the liquid. So and what that will do is that will give us a clearer cordial. You don't have to put it through a fine coffee paper or filter paper. It just gives you a better product at the end of it, type of thing. So just impure, it'll just make it a nice shiny cordial rather than something that could be dull. No kind of real flavour difference to kind of notice. Just more aesthetically pleasing. So we have got a little bit of scum there. I'm not bothered about that. So we're going to add sugar, and then potentially we're going to add some acid to it, acidity to it as well, not acid, as in battery acid or hydrochloric acid. We're going to add some acidity to it. So depending on what juice you're using, depends on what acidity and where it comes from, kind of depends. So using pomegranate, orange works really well. I've been having cocktails, so that's why there's no zest on there. I don't know, you think that's just, I don't know what you might think that was. Yeah, so something like pomegranate, orange works really well as an acidity, whereas something like a rose water or a melon, like a watermelon, lime works particularly well. So we'll just kind of see. So we'll taste it, we'll see if it needs any acidity. It's already kind of quite acidic. But we're also, because we're adding sugar, we just kind of need to compensate and balance things out a little bit. Also, the acid will give it a little bit of preserving, it'll preserve it a little bit as well. So I think that's it. Yeah, I wanted this to be a short video, but once again, I have been waffling away. So I'll reduce that, and then doesn't need to a rapid boil. All it's really going to do is boil back in the impurities. Any impurities that are left in that juice, it's going to boil them back in. It's going to potentially go cloudy. So it doesn't want to be like a rapid boil, but that's about enough just to evaporate off some of the liquid, so we get a more concentrated flavour. Yeah, so which kind of segues into something else, which will mean I'm waffling for even longer. Yeah, so when I was making the pomegranate liqueur, I was very concerned about, I didn't want to lose the freshness of the flavour of the pomegranate, so I melted the sugar into a little bit of the pomegranate juice, and then left the rest of the pomegranate juice fresh, because the alcohol was going to preserve it. We can't do that. We have to cook it, we have to stew it, which will change the flavour of the blueberry juice. So there's just no way kind of getting around this without going down the route of putting other preservatives in it, which I don't want to do, and I'm not really into. I don't really know enough about preservatives to add like E numbers to it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're going to do this method because it's for the best for the results that we're going to get. Right, and also because we're reducing it down, we're also going to intensify the colour as well. So it's going to more intensive flavour and more intense colour as well. So there we go. That's it. That's all I've got to say until it's reduced down to a level that I kind of want. I don't know what it'll be. It hasn't reduced down that much so far. I'll just quick taste. No, it needs to come down by at least half. So we'll probably end up with about 300 millilitres worth of liquid. Depending on what fruit juice you're using, depends on how much you need to reduce it by. So I did the one that I did before was blackberry. It didn't need reducing down that much. It just needed to be heated up, and it was quite delicious. If you're gonna do, obviously I got this from fresh blueberries. You can buy 100% pure fruit juices. Certainly, like a pomegranate, you can buy 100% pomegranate juice, and it's just pure pomegranate juice. There's nothing else in it. And you can buy other fruit juices in the same kind of way as well. you can make it using those. You don't. What I'm doing is I'm using up something that I've got. You can just buy pure fruit juices. If you're going to buy those pure fruit juices, make sure that it's 100% pure and there's no sweeteners in it, there's no preservatives in it, and there's no sugar in it, because that is going to kind of affect the taste, and you're reducing it and all those type of things. So that's about it. Although saying that, because I've done a cordial with this, waffling, I know I am. Because I've done a cordial with this, it kind of makes me think that what I will do is when I'm out and about and I'm in the shops, I will look at fruit juices and potentially look at making cordials out of fruit juices. So like if you can buy, we can buy 100% grape juice. So we can buy that grape juice, and I'll have a go at making that into a cordial at some stage out of interest, because most of the things I do out of interest. I'm waffling and waffling, talking about waffling and waffling. I'll put some date stamps in this, so you don't have to watch all the video, with just the good bits, or all the bits and all the waffling, if you like the waffling. So it has reduced, and as you can see, it's become darker. It's still nice and shiny and nice and clear. So I've just weighed it, I've just measured it, and it's about 230 milliliters. So it looks like we've come down by almost 2/3 to it's almost like a third of its original weight. So rough calculation, that it needs to start off with. I'm going to put in 90 grams of sugar. So just normal granulated sugar. You do need to kind of be a little bit careful of making syrups and things, because what can happen is a sugar can crystallise. Certainly, if there's not enough acid in a sugar syrup, it can crystal. If there's too much sugar in and there's not enough acid, it can crystallise. So, but it's quite acidic. Is this blueberry juice? So we should be okay. So give it a swirl around so it melts all the sugar, and then we'll give it a taste. We'll see if it's all right for acidity levels. I think it'll be fine actually. And then we can put it in a nice clean bottle, which I sterilised with boiling water, which I failed to empty out. That's me pouring the water out, that's me not doing anything else. So it's reducing, melty. So I can turn that down, the residual heat will melt that bit of sugar that's in there. Give it a taste. Now it will, because it's warm, it's still quite liquid, but it'll thicken up as it cools and gets to room temperature or fridge temperature. So it will be thicker, so it will go like a proper cordial. Nope, that's nice. It doesn't need, it needs a little bit of lemon in that, just a little bit of lemon. So completely unsuitable knife, so I reckon about a third of this small lemon. Hopefully, and there's no pips in it, so we're good. So about that much. A lot of the heat, we're all right adding just that little bit of lemon. That's not going to make it. It's not going to start. That's not going to make it ferment. Is that? So we don't need to cook that lemon anymore. So a lot of cooking is about taste and getting the right kind of balance with salt and sweetness and sugar and sourness and all those type of things. So it's just a balance. But normally dishes need sugar or salt or a bit of acidity or umami, which is all those things like Worcestershire sauce and mushrooms, that type of thing. A little bit more, just to balance the sweetness and the fruitiness. So about that much. It's a personal. It doesn't need. You don't need to put that lemon in. I just think it needs it just to kind of lift that kind of flavour. And also things that are hot and things that are cold taste differently as well. So this will taste differently again when it's cold. So that's another kind of contributing thing that you just need to think about. So nice looking bottle. Funnel because it's nice and easy. And then that's that. So what we'll do is we'll let that go cold, put a lid on it, let it go cold, keep it in the fridge, and then tomorrow we'll have like a proper tasting without knocking the camera. But there we go, blueberry cordial. It should be delicious. Might even have it in a cocktail. Go. The cordial has cooled. It's got a nice bit of shine to it. It's got a little bit thicker now it's cold. So nice and clear and glossy. Should be about enough. And then fancy cordial. No, not fancy cordial. Fancy tonic. So it should go nice and fizzy, nice and clear. There we go. It's going to taste like, hopefully, nice. That's lovely, is that? Absolutely delicious. And so if you're wanting to make your own cordial, dead easy, if I'm honest, and certainly nicer than the majority of things you'll buy in the shops. Probably a little bit more expensive, but if your favourite drink, like Ribena, has been ruined forever by the sugar tax, then you can make your own. Although Ribena, it's not made out of blueberries. I forget what it's made. Is it red? Forget. But it's not blueberries. But anyway, you can make your own. Oh yeah, so it will certainly keep in the fridge for a month, if not 2 months. So you can't make it. Hasn't got a huge amount of sugar, and it's not got any preservatives in it, so it won't keep indefinitely like cordials that you can buy. But if you keep it in the fridge, it'll certainly last for a month. Certainly last probably 2 months. But eventually, it will start to ferment. I don't know why, but it does. It eventually starts to ferment, and its sort of flavour profile changes. So it just needs to. You just need to keep it in the fridge. You can't keep it in the cupboard. You can keep it somewhere cool, and it'll be fine. But just keep it in the fridge to stop it starting fermenting. That's it. I'm sure. Yes. Oh yeah. Obviously, I put in. It was. How many was it? 100 grams of sugar for 250 milliliters. That's my basic recipe. You can up the sugar. You can put less sugar in if you want. It's a personal preference, but I think if I'm going to be putting it in some tonic that's already kind of sweet, I don't want things to be too sweet. And by making things, the more sugar you put in things, you tend to lose the flavour of the fruit, so it's not just kind of quite as fresh. I'll do more of these because it's kind of I'm quite interested in it. So I'll see what kind of fruit juices there are out there that I can buy, so you don't have to make your own fruit juice. And I'm thinking I'll probably end up buying some frozen berries as well, and see what we can do with those. So just kind of interesting to me, maybe interesting to you.